So the vote went down exactly as everybody thought it was going to go down. Now, apparently, with Romney and Collins voting for witnesses, we actually went down 51 to 49. Um, Pretty interesting. I mean, I can understand why they might want to hear from more witnesses. I mean, they need to seem to be fair and whatnot, but on the truth of the matter, this was an open and shut case. We knew that it was going to go down this way. And, especially since last night when, you had the two Republican senators, one from Alaska, and I'm going to screw this one up. So I won't say it. The other guy. They basically came forward and said, no, I'm going to vote no. And the really big problem was that the the senator from Alaska is known as being one of the most nonpartisan senators there is. And once she turned around and started chastising the Democrats and telling them that they didn't really have a good case and the whatnot, it really started it blew holes immediately in what the Democrats were saying. I mean, you have somebody who bipartisanly is being called the least partisan. And the reason why I can say that is because the person who originally made that claim that this person was nonpartisan was from the extremely liberal NPR. Okay? National Public Radio, when they were the Senate took their 15-minute recess earlier today before the vote happened and all the rest of that. But when they first took their first 15-minute recess, that ended up being like, what, 45 minutes, almost 50 minutes? They were talking about it, and that was one of the things. Like, wow, the thing that really blew a hole in this case was when she came out and she started, saying that this was a bad case, that they ran it wrong in the House because she's looked at as being someone that could be trusted to be nonpartisan. So done with that side. The other thing is that Klobuchar was seen, again during that same recess. She was being interviewed, and they basically asked her point blank. They said, "You know what? In hindsight, do you believe that it should have been that the Democrats should have waited for Supreme Court to hear the cases of those executive branch members that had sought the court's opinion when the Congress subpoenaed them, and then Trump said, no, you're not going their executive privilege." So they were basically asked, I should say, Klobuchar was asked point blank today, do you think in hindsight that that was a bad idea? Should you have waited? Without missing a beat, she didn't even answer the question. She flipped it on him, and she basically went in and said, well, you know what? If you really want it to be fair, you do it now. And no, dude, I mean, the fact is, and I actually wrote pretty extensively on this today as a response to NPR. I basically wrote that you really can't have it both ways. You either recognize the fact that you had a poor case that came to the Senate, okay? Just say, hey, we fucked up. We messed up. And this is what happened. Just admit to it. Or basically, you've got to come out and say, this is all we had, and we threw the best at him, and now he's getting acquitted. So it's important to realize that we are probably going to see more charges eventually brought against Trump. Why? The Democrats just will never learn. They just won't. They want to prove a point that has been already mauled to death. Um, I'm sorry to say, I don't see this being the end of it. But at the very least, Trump will be acquitted because that was just weak tea that they brought against him, man. I mean, that was weak. And they have nobody but themselves to blame, being the Democrats. Now, if you look into recent events, Texas was turning purple. A lot of people saw that, and they also said that they were pretty darn sure that eventually it was going to turn blue. And today or yesterday, you can find the the article up still. In fact, I believe it's on the political background Facebook page. Um, a very key race in Texas was decided, and it went red. And it was supposed to be if that district went blue, then they could expect the rest of the districts to start turning blue and Texas, Texas, Texas. Well, ends up being that very close race supposedly was, I think the final numbers was like 53 to 47. So it was close, but not that close, not that close. Especially when I believe, and I may have to correct myself on this. I did a real quick cursory reading of the article. Um, I believe that the incumbent was Democrat and got ousted by the Republicans. So this, I mean, it was more of an upset than the numbers actually say. And I'll be happy to recant and correct myself if I reread it and see that I'm wrong. But I believe that yeah, this was supposed to be the Democrat was the incumbent. Um, but you see that happening. You see the fact that we are getting to a point where people are just sick and tired. I mean, we're just sick and tired of the dumb crap. We want people to get back to work. But I guess the moral of the story is don't bring a weak case, or you're not. It's not going to go the way you want. Um, Secondly, um, do your due diligence. They would have had a much, much stronger case if even one witness had been compelled to testify by the Supreme Court. If that had happened, we're talking about a completely different story because now the Democrats have a leg to stand on. They can see, Supreme Court agreed with us on this guy. Just wait till we bring out a little bit more information on the other guys and we can fight again and, try to get them to, compel them to testify. But if they could have gotten one guy compelled to testify by the Supreme Court, I think they would have done well. I think the lesson again here is they rushed into it because they were trying to make sure that the candidates for president would not be caught up in the Senate for too long and lose poll ratings and miss speaking engagements and whatnot. They needed to be out there pressing flesh with their constituents and the swing voters and whatnot. And it's going to backfire. It's going to backfire horribly because now Trump's going to go into this a victor. The other way that this could have played out is if they would have waited, and even if the Supreme Court didn't side with them on any of the cases, they could have kept this in the public's eye until closer to November. This is now going to be an acquittal in February, and now they're going to have to start building a new case with 9 months left. Now, I don't put it past them. They could do it, but the truth of the matter is that they basically lost. Now they're going to look pettier than they've ever looked if they continue to go after Trump. Trump goes into this with an acquittal, goes into it with a couple of key races going in his favor, and that's that. So, hey guys, just to remind you, the sponsor of the show is Blue Cord Horde Brewing Company. That is the military specific face of Las Tradiciones Coffee Company, which is owned by me and my family. Just want to let you guys know that it's 3 generations of coffee knowledge and 2 generations of service to our country. 100% veteran owned, obviously, and we're the only ones that have that track record. We own the farm, we own all of it. So go ahead and hit us up if you are interested in that. We've got a little bit of coffee left over right now, and we're hoping to bring up about 500 pounds more of the latest crop that we're picking right now. So just remember Blue Cord Horde Brewing Company, and they sponsor the Get Angry with Alan show. Have yourself a wonderful day, guys. Bye.